Hi. So, I'm talking about soulmates and soul groups again. I made this video in Serbian and it was rather long because I have a lot to say about it. And I haven't said everything. I kept remembering things that I should have said and I forgot. So this again might be a different video and I'm feeling a whole lot better. Although I've had an issue with water. They actually had to close the water for the entire building because of me because I had a flood. And I had a client who was working with water on last Monday and on Wednesday I had a flood. And I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the client. It has to do with me. But it's it's kind of funny because I fixed that, and now I have the same issue in in another point in the house. So I know it's not gonna stop until I finish this. So it's kind of funny because it's kind of strange that the way I receive messages because I have water issues and electricity issues, and this time it was water issues, and I kind of expected it. So, anyways, this needed to be fixed. So, it just came out now. Anyway, soul groups and soulmates. I work a lot with soulmates and soul groups. This is the part of the realm of the spiritual life, spiritual regression, and the place where soul spends a lot of time. And mostly my clients spend a lot of time when they go out of their body. They spend a lot of time with their soul groups and soulmates. So this is the most important thing that we actually do when we do spiritual regression. And mostly when people come to see me, especially till maybe 6 months ago or almost a year ago, they all wanted to sorry, this was the main issue that I worked on because people wanted to know either when they're going to find their soulmate, who is their soulmate. Maybe they have somebody in their mind who they wanted to check if this person is their soulmate. Maybe they're in a relationship with somebody and that relationship is difficult, so they wanted to see why they have difficulties and is this person from their soul group or not. Or they're in triangles. They have a lover or somebody who is they're not married to a partner, but they have another partner and they have another parallel relationship. So they wanted to see why is this connection there. So yeah, I worked a lot. I worked a lot on partner relationships and soulmate issues. So I've learned a lot from my clients about that. So let's start with some basic definitions. First, soulmates actually are not your romantic partners all the time. You can have romantic relationships with your soulmates, but you can have more than one soulmate. Your soul group is consisted of your soulmates. Your primary soul group is consisted of your soulmates. In your primary soul group, you can have from 3 up to 20 or more people there. So far, I've had clients with 20, and they couldn't identify everybody, but they identified the closest people to them. So soul group, primary soul group, is something that I work a lot with. You can have a wider circle, but your primary soul group is your spiritual family, so to speaking, and you have an unbreakable energetic connections with them. Unbreakable means that you have similar, not same, but similar energetic signature. This means you have same soul colors and you have same task. You work on the same task, learn same thing when you incarnate on Earth. This is the group that you mostly incarnate with in and exchange roles. Sometimes you incarnate in pairs, sometimes in threes, and sometimes you incarnate alone and they support you from other realm, or they incarnate close by so that you can learn your lesson and bring down your vibration in the area that you're surrounded in, so that you either meet or you don't meet, but usually you do meet at some point with your soulmates. And basically what I do with my clients, I usually want to know about the color. This is the place where we project a lot. We can want somebody to be in our soul group who's maybe not there, or we see shapes and spirit and some other, they present themselves to us in some different form, not in human form, so you don't recognize the face, and then we tend to project people who we want to see there, and usually those are the people that we have some affiliation to or we're in love with. But usually in our soulmate group, there are our closest family members, like biological family. But also I've had many cases where their biological family is not in their immediate soul group. So they can be in some other group, or in the group that they learn with, or that they teach something to, but they're not, or they have the karma with, but usually they're not in your immediate soul group. Your immediate soul group is usually your support system, your support group. And as one of my clients, she's a very young client, she was 17, 18 at the time. And when I asked her about the primary soul group, she asked me, "Oh, those are souls that I'm born with?" So they're born at the same time as you are, and you come together in existence. You come together in some sort of form that you have there on that plane, and this is why they're your soul family. They're your sort of your brothers and sisters, and you can exchange different roles with them. They can be your mother and your father in this life, your grandparents, your siblings, your closest friends. Usually you have close relationships with them and affiliation to them. They can sometimes be your teachers or not, but usually they're not. You're basically at the same level of development. And this is why you have same color. And this is why I ask about the color, because when you tell me the color, you cannot project. I know you're not projecting, because sometimes you see a person and then ask about the color of those souls, and they are of a different vibration and different color. And you can have, I have all range, but mostly I work with souls who are blue, and they have other hues in there, but mostly they're blue. Excuse me. And their lessons vary, and mainly they come here to learn about emotions. Most of my clients call the Earth school for emotions, and they learn how to handle emotions, how to be in emotion, how to have different emotions, range of emotions. Mostly they learn about love, they learn about tolerance, they learn about patience, they learn about acceptance, and they learn how to have emotions, how to handle emotions. Some learn about anger, and then they learn how to get rid of the anger and how to handle anger. Various range of emotions. And why emotions? Because you express energy through your emotions. You learn how to work with your energy, and when you're in form, and mostly in human body, through emotions. Emotion is energy in motion. So that's why. And this is how they learn to be in the human body. And some learn how to have emotions and have relationships most learn about relationships and have relationships, and but not to be possessive, and how to be not detached but not to be attached, not to be dependent and codependent. And various things really vary from person to person. It's very individual and from group to group, but mostly together they have one common task and one common lesson, not task but lesson. And depending on different hues, those hues, there's one dominant color, but those hues tell you whether they're struggling with, what is their development, and what they're struggling with where they are. They, I mean, I don't know which color means what. You can find this in Mike Newton's book, and I don't wanna be telling a lot about it because it's gonna be suggestive. And I know this is this is helping you, but it's also not, because when I speak about something that I have all sorts of many clients who think they have the same issue, and they think they want to be a certain color, but they're not. So brilliant white is basic, and they're the youngest souls, and I'm not going to tell you about all those ranges. You can find that about yourself. Michael Newton said the rarest ones are dark blue and violet. I've recently had a client who is violet. They're also very different hues of violet, but I mostly have blues, all shades of blues, and different colors, but all shades of blues are mostly my clients, and they are already in developed souls, and there are some in some sort of energy healing and spiritual work or helping professions, and they struggle with different issues, and their soul group is also somewhere around there. So basically, yeah, your soul group is your same color. Then you can have karmic relationships with your soulmates and soul groups, and not all of those are difficult. And sometimes in your soul group, you can be surprised by somebody. You can have somebody there who is giving you a bit of difficulties, like a sister of your partner or spouse, or a father or mother of your spouse, or some distant relative, or a distant friend, a high school friend, the elementary school friend, and maybe you were not so close. You didn't spend that much time together, but this relationship, especially with those kind of friends, I'm not talking about family members, but friends, are supportive. This person, whenever this person was there, you felt a certain energy and you felt supported, whatever, no matter how distant you were. So you remember them fondly. And then a lot of my clients don't see human form. They see their light, which is authentic, genuine, or they see other forms, which represent some personality trait or characteristics that this group has, and this person should develop more in themselves. So it's some sort of a message. Your soul group are not your guides generally. They're just your support group. And I had clients, like I said, a lot of clients who don't have their soul group incarnate, or they are incarnate, but they don't meet each other. They're very dispersed because depending on the task they have, they are doing their own thing, their own mission, and they meet on astral planes. I've had clients who meet their soul group in astral planes. You can also have a wider group, which can also be your soul group, but there may be your people that you work with, souls that you work with. You don't even have to meet them in physical plane, but they can still be your soul group, but not not the primary soul group, but sort of offspring of yours, or fragments, or fragments of your soulmates. So you share the lessons with them, you teach them, and you help them when they're needed. And I don't have very much experience with this wider circle of souls. I mainly work with primary soul group because this is what my clients want to see, and this is basically where their guides take them. I call this place, for some reason, Tunnel of Love. I don't know why and how I started it. I don't know how I got it, but clients don't see it as a tunnel. Some, but they see it as a stage, or a meadow, or a beach, or a dancing floor, or rarely library, or some cafe, but very rarely library, and never as a place where they listen their lessons to. You can have another group. It's your study group. And I've had some clients who said that they meet with their group. It sounded like a study group from what they told me, and it was a different bunch of souls from when I took them to the soul place where to meet their soulmates. They don't know these people in physical, and they meet because of a certain task they have together, a lesson that they're learning from a certain teacher. So one certain teacher, one soul, a teacher soul, gathers them, and they meet each other only to have lessons from this being. And they don't necessarily need to meet in physical, they only meet in astral. Sometimes they pass by and meet each other, and sometimes they don't. And I also don't have that much experience with these groups, because I've had one or two clients who told me this. So I don't know about this, or about the souls that have that you work with. But basically, from what I've heard, this is this also your soul group. You have tasks with your soul group that you incarnate with, so you help each other with those. So yeah, Michael Newton wrote about it. I heard first about soul groups from him, I have to admit. I have heard about soulmates before, and I was one of those people who thought we only have one soulmate, which is not true. We have more soulmates, and our relationships don't necessarily need to be romantic relationships. It's sort of like family. And when we speak about galactic lineage, this is what we're talking about. Although I've also seen from some clients and from my own experiences, from journeys, that galactic family is not same necessarily as your soul group, as your soul family. They can be, but they're usually not. Because like I mentioned in previous videos, you have more than one galaxy. So it depends what you're observing and where your lineage is from. And some maybe don't have their soul groups in this galaxy Milky Way at all, because some souls don't incarnate anymore. And I've had a few clients like those, and what my clients basically tell me mostly is that their closest friends and family members, mostly family, mother, father, daughter, son, those kind of people, their partner and their marital partner, or the one who is not their marital partner but they are living with or in love with, is in their primary soul group. And I've actually had a few clients who told me that their soul group are half incarnate, but they are not meeting each other, and they will be later in life, or they won't because of their task. And the other half is not incarnate, and they didn't recognize them. And I didn't have any clients who said that their soul group is not incarnate, but I am one of them. And I was told in some of my sessions that my soul group is not incarnate. And I only saw them once, and I saw 5 beings. I saw them as light beings, alien beings, but light body, like light bodies. And I didn't recognize them, and I didn't recognize by the vibration any of them until later. I only know one who is incarnate. At least that's what I was told. And the rest are not. And they came to me and they were telling me, and they said that they were a council, and I didn't know. And until today, I don't know which council. And they were telling me, you're one of us, and I don't still know who they are, because I worked a lot on my soul group, but not basically on soul group, more on soulmate issues. So this is how I know that we have more than one. And the other ones are sort of creator souls and intergalactic peace council or something like that. And I don't know them in this human form, and they're not incarnate. At least that's what I was told the last I worked on that. And yeah, my energy signature is not blue. I'm telling this because of some of my clients I've had a few clients who told me they see me in their soul groups. And then afterwards, when I asked about the color and other characteristics, they told me something that is not mine. Because I know I know, I've heard about the soul colors from Michael Newton, from his books. But I've seen my soul color before I ever read and I ever knew who he was, because I honestly, I didn't go to my hypnotherapy training because I wanted to be like him or learned about him. Like I was mentioning before in my videos, I was told I should do this, and I listened to my guidance, so I went, and things opened up. But I read his books when I came back from my very first training, from my module 1. So I did not know this before. And on my very first session, when I was a client and they were practicing with me, I went out of my body, and I was like an energy stream, an electrical stream, electrical current in here, up here. So I was not in my body, and I became the light. I became violet golden light that was here, actually probably all around me, but I was just feeling it very strongly here. And I couldn't speak, and I didn't hear them. At first I heard the questions, but I didn't want to answer, and I didn't want to talk, and I couldn't hear them. So it lasted for a while because the soul took over, because I needed some healing, and it was genuine. I didn't even know what happened at that moment or why it happened. So I just found out about it later on. So that was me, and I'm not saying this because I want to be this, or because I don't know, imagined it. And because when you do, and I do have clients who just, when I ask about the color, I see that they're telling me from their mind, because there is the vibration that is following. And sometimes I do see colors around my clients, and yeah, that's how I know. And so when they tell me that they see me in their soul group, and then they tell me that they're blue or red or whatever, or white, sorry, but I don't engage with my clients to check. Sometimes I do when they're very close friends, or when the connection is very strong, but I don't check it with them, especially if I don't know them. I check it in different ways with myself, especially when I feel this you feel it from the heart, and you feel it by the eye connection, and sometimes when I look into closely to clients, I just know. Not always. Clients ask me, but I don't engage in this with clients unless I'm told, or it's very necessary because of a reason, because there is either a clear up, or I am a teacher or something that you need at this moment. So yeah, I don't engage with my clients at this, but I hear a lot from my clients about this. So this means that either we have a karmic connection, relationship that's being cleared throughout the session, or if I'm in yours, I mean, I go everywhere, especially when I work with you. I go through dimensions, and like I mentioned, I dream about my clients, and I sometimes know people who come, and I've seen them, and I know it's from the dream. And some clients I know, I just sense that I know from another dimension. So this basically means that I'm either helping them or teaching them, or we have some kind of something that needs to be clear. Then this is why you came to see me, and this is why you maybe see me in your soul group, or maybe you just want to see me there, because it's common when somebody is helping you, you have affiliation to this person. And I do my best to maintain boundaries to the best of my knowledge. And this is why I don't engage with my clients in this unless I'm explicitly told to do so. And sometimes, if necessary, this develops in a different way further. And usually when we're not therapist and client anymore. So I'm saying this because I needed to mention it, because of some of my clients. They also tell me that when they see animals, and that their animal is this and that, and I'm not the wolf. I know my spirit animal, my spirit guide, and it's not the wolf. And I know my totem animal, and there is a group of beings, of souls, who come with this animal, but this means something else. So yeah, that just I needed to say this, because that's, I mean, I don't engage it. I don't tell you, it's your process of learning, and I don't want to influence you, but I'm trying to teach you something through these videos, and I don't want you to project things on me, and I don't want to manipulate you or be suggestive towards you. So this is why I'm doing it. So yeah, I just hope I'm not offending anybody by saying it. This is not my intention. I also mentioned in my previous one, that because I've had clients who had several clients who has said throughout the session, whether group or individual private session, that their pets are their soulmates. This is not true. I also don't comment on that, because it's your process of learning, and you have to realize some things by yourself. And there is probably the need why you needed this at this moment. So I don't want to interfere. That when the time comes, you will know yourself. You will receive your informations by yourself. But Michael Newton also said that animals are coming from different realm, and you don't see animals where souls are, unless some of your guides want to present themselves to you as this. But this doesn't happen when we go in upper realms. It happens during past life regression, or before, or somewhere before we get there. But when we are there, they're either light or humanoid form, and some sort of strange shapes, but not animals. From what I've learned from my own energy and through some readings, is in the best case, you have made them. If you're a creator soul, if you came to this level, and if you are practicing creation, because souls do create life and they create planets, you have created them. But usually there are other groups, if you don't belong to this group, and if this is not your task and your lesson, and this is not something that you do, there are other souls who do this. And they might be created by the fragment of your energy, but they're of different dimension, and they are yet to grow to this level, and they can go through human lives, but they have to upgrade, so they're not from your soul group and they're not your soulmates. There's something different. This doesn't mean that I'm not saying that animals don't have souls. On the contrary, but they belong to a group soul. They're one soul. They're one species, and this species has a soul. So you are learning how to be an individual. They're still in a collective. I don't know how to explain this. In my mind, this is very clear, but I sometimes can't not translate it properly to you. What we do with your session when we go to the level, and this is why we go to a soul group, because your soul group is your collective. You belong to this collective, but you have different hues in your color because you're learning how to be yourself, how to be an individual soul that's a bit different, same but different from this group. And animals belong to the species, to their species, and this species is one soul, and they still belong to this collective. And through your hues, by connecting to your hues, they're growing. So you're helping them grow, and they can upgrade to this level. This is why they belong to a different realm. And this is how I understand it. Maybe I'm telling you something wrong, but this is how I understand it. So no, there is a reason why you have an animal. I have a pet. She's my best friend, but I don't see her as my soulmate. She's not my soulmate. Your animals are not your soulmates. You're helping them ascend too, and they're helping you. Yeah, that was one thing about soul. So another thing about which is very popular lately are talk about twin flames. And Michael Newton didn't believe in something as twin flames. He called it primary soulmate. So we all have our primary soulmate, which is our partner on that level, which is the same partner as your higher self. But when I speak about souls, sometimes my clients see themselves as in the form that is of female sex, or sometimes they see themselves as male souls, as a form. Of course, soul doesn't have a sex, but it's a form to express yourself as this male or female form. But sometimes my clients see themselves as a sexless soul, a hermaphrodite, if you want it like this, and they don't see themselves consisted of these two, but they're a blend of these two, and it depends on the level of my client. So everything that I'm telling you, I've learned from my clients, but I depend on what they tell me and on the level of their development. So they can only tell me to where they came to. So I'm just translating what I've learned from them and from myself, from my own soul. So yeah, when you have this kind of partner, your primary soulmate, you only have one. And usually when you incarnate with this being, you are in partner relationships, whether you exchange roles, you can exchange sexes, but you don't have to. Some souls love to be in female bodies all the time and choose to incarnate like this, and some choose to incarnate as male bodies all the time, and some mix depending on the lesson. It's very different, and it's very individual depending on the lesson and what you came to experience and learn. And on that level, you're usually the opposite. If you see yourself as a female soul, your primary soulmate is male, and vice versa. And this is your divine partner, your divine counterpart, your other half, if you want, and you are same energy signature, meaning you're an energy level. You're completely the same, but your polarities. You are the one is male, one is female. Not polarities as in good and bad, but polarities as in male and female. So this is how you in this form, in human body, but in this body, other body form, present, sort of learn about duality, but also about oneness, because you're basically one energy, same energy, just you present yourself in different forms, because when you are this energy, you function and you present yourself differently when you're female form, and you present yourself differently when you're a male form. And this is very hard for mind to understand, because it's one on that level. You just see it as something separate from you, because it's easier for our mind to understand and communicate with, but it's one. And when you incarnate in one body. You can incarnate in two bodies, and my clients usually do have their primary soulmate incarnate with them, but you don't have to. But you are one soul. That's what I'm saying. Of course, we are all one at that level, and your soul group is also one soul, bigger soul with you, but this particular soul has the very similar energy signature as you do, meaning that all the hues and everything will be the same. So yeah, Michael Newton didn't believe in twin flames and didn't believe in everything people are saying about the dynamic between the twin flames, because he didn't understand why would somebody run away from the other half of themselves, because this is like something divine, and this relationship is usually bliss, although not necessarily from what I've heard from my clients. So mainly my clients, I've had clients who are incarnate with their primary soulmate, and they are in harmonious relationships with them. So this is not their point of interest, so they don't work on that with me. We work on other issues where they're separate from love, because what is the point of your, what is the lesson, main lesson of your soul group, and you incarnating with your soul mate or primary soulmate is learning about love. So learning about love is to express it, to feel it, to show it, to give it, but mostly to receive it, because we are all very separate from love, and we have different ways of disconnecting ourselves from love. Usually when we have difficulties in partner relationships, and this is what mostly people work on, is because they are not unable to receive love or to express love, but mostly in the cases of my clients, to receive love. And they then are mostly in relationships with their karmic partners, or some of their other soulmates, but not with their primary soulmate. The ones who are in relationships with their other soulmates don't necessarily have bad relationships with them, and their primary soulmate is mainly not incarnate, or they have an agreement that they will not learn this lesson together in this way, so they have different other lessons, or maybe karmic issues that they need to clear before this. And sometimes they just agree either not to meet. Some told me that they will not meet their primary soulmate in this incarnation, and some tell me that they will, but they will be friends or support system, but not in romantic relationships, because this is their agreement. And it's all very individual, and it all depends on their soul agreement. And these kind of agreements, there are things that we can ask and change, because we bring in change in this level, on the soul level. But there are things like whether you will meet your soulmate or not, whether this being is incarnate or not. These are the things that you cannot change. And only if one or both souls make a very big progress, a very big jump, and in their development, then they can meet and they can be together. If this is what they choose, if this is what they want. And I also had clients who have met their soulmates, and they told me that their primary soulmates, like they call it twin flames, and they told me that they don't want to be with them in a relationship, because it's a difficult learning point. And mostly those clients don't know very much about receiving love, because they had difficulties in their basic relationships. And this comes from other lifetimes too. And what happens, and this is why I think that Michael Newton was wrong, is that sometimes, he spoke about this, and I see it in my clients, sometimes your primary soulmate doesn't want to show herself or himself to you, especially if there have been a lot of pain in previous lifetimes, incarnations together. If you did something to your primary soulmate, or to somebody who this primary soulmate, I mean like a child or something, or if you have been abusive, or whatever that has happened. So this soul chooses not to reveal itself to you, or they're still carrying some anger, and they cannot release, they cannot forgive. And not only primary soulmate, but I see that other members of your soul group can also feel this. And I've had several clients that I see that are connected to this being, and they're from the soul, well, either from the same group or just like a bit below, like soul fragments of this being, but they're very angry, and they're still carrying this, and they're unable, even on that level. I mean, I've had not only to this being, but to their soul group. They cannot connect to their soul group. So I've had lots of clients lately telling me that they cannot go to their soul group, or cannot see their soul group. They don't see anybody, or even if they do, they don't feel connected to them. They tell me, I don't feel connection. Sometimes they know who they are, but they can't feel anything. They don't feel a connection. This usually means that this is something that they need to work on, and that something has happened that they need to, not necessarily with this group, but something has happened considering relationships and love, especially with somebody they loved a lot. Most likely somebody from this group has done something to them so that they cannot connect to them. And this means, of course, on a soul level, you shouldn't feel those emotions like anger or unforgiveness, but these are the imprints of this past issue, past life that you haven't worked on, and that is left unresolved. So this is also directing you in what you should work on next. And this is also showing you that you are disconnected from love, that you cannot express or receive love because of something that has happened. And this is actually what you came here to do, and this is the most challenging thing for you, most likely, and for those beings that I'm in. It's amazing how I see that this particular group, and I know exactly what's going on and where is it coming from, and I'm really curious to see what's going to happen, because it's very important to them. It's very important. They don't realize it, but the amount of suppressed energy and emotions that are there it's a really big issue with them, and this is why they continue to have difficulties in relationships. And from what I've seen, you usually come into the similar life scenario, so either same, so experience the same, or or it's something similar that you created for yourself so that you can experience it secondhand. So basically, it's not happening to you, it's happening to somebody from your family, but you are touched by it and you are experiencing it secondhand, so not directly, but you have to tend to this. And this doesn't mean that you create this to torment yourself or torment anybody else. This is just there to help you resolve it, to finally face it and resolve it, and integrate and connect to who you really are and to your soul group, because you do connect to your soul group. This is your collective, but through your soul group you also learn about your own identity and your own energy signature and who you really are on that level. And this is why you need them. And because what souls tell me is that they're here to share love and to create love and to give a fruit of their love. It doesn't necessarily have to be an offspring. Usually it is, they mean an offspring, but it doesn't necessarily have to be an offspring. So this is why you connect to your soul group, and this is why you connect to your soulmate, so that you can bring the vibration of love here in this form, in this plane, in physical form. I've also had clients who don't have their primary soulmate incarnate. I've had a client who doesn't meet her soulmate, primary soulmate, even on that plane. They meet rarely when she goes there, when she finishes incarnations and she goes there, because she is not even in her own soul group. She goes and teaches, and teaches younger souls, and this is their agreement, and he supports her, and they meet differently, but they don't meet that often. And she's fine with that, because this is not something that she created, because she's a married woman and she's satisfied with this relationship, and this is not what we worked on. We worked on something else. So she is genuine what she told me. So this can happen too. So I'm telling you this because it's all very individual. So everything you hear about the dynamics between twin flames and why are they together and not together and blah blah whatever, it's just, I think, game for a mental mind and your need to explain something that it's unexplainable, because it's very individual. So our primary soulmate, same as twin flames, I'm not so sure. I'm not sure. Like I say, I can only go to the level to which my clients go. From my own personal experience, I don't think so. Yeah, but my own is my primary soulmate, at least. I mean, I've made mistakes before, like you do. I worked on this issue. This is a very difficult issue for me. This is a very painful issue for me. And it's the source of my greatest pain, not only in this incarnation, but from other incarnations, from almost all my earthly incarnations. And I haven't had lifetimes with my primary soulmate or twin flame, whatever you want to call it. We had more lives off Earth, on other planes, on the planets, and maybe one. For one, I'm sure. For the rest, I'm not. And we've met, we've interacted, possibly been in some sort of relationships that didn't end well, but we haven't been together as mates. And because of the issue that has happened off Earth, I have been the one who's been reluctant in knowing this being. And how I know this, and I thought at first, because I worked on this issue for 9 years, I started searching for my soulmate first. Like I said, I first thought we only have one soulmate that I discovered without. And I thought some people that I'm in love with are my soulmates. In some sense, they were, because they were teaching me and they were guiding me through this. And because of a certain difficulties in a certain relationship, I came to being a hypnotherapist, and while resolving all these issues, and then this being has led me to another one. And I thought that this has to do with the image, but it's not about the image. I thought it's one person, but it turned out that it isn't. And why I thought, because I had these dreams, and I also had I was seeing some being in my sessions, but I didn't see the face. I was seeing, even in my dreams, I didn't see the face. I was seeing the person up to till here, feet and here, or from behind. And I saw other characteristics that this being had, that this person that at that time I was in love with didn't have. But I was like, oh, surely it will develop, but it didn't. So it was not that person. And I'm why I know what possible mistakes are, because I've made them. I've made those mistakes before. And now this person, when I really started working deeply on myself, went further and further away from me. So this is why I started thinking, so how come, if this person is really my primary soulmate, he's not coming closer, but he's coming further away? And this is when I thought more about it, and when I worked more on myself, especially in most sessions, but other healing modalities, was completely erased from my energy, and I don't want to have anything to do with this person. And when the one who is that first came in my dreams, he came from all four sides, and I ran. I actually threw everything that I could at him. All of a sudden there were some books, and I was throwing books and stuff and everything that came to my hand at that moment at him, because I anticipated difficulties, and I anticipated a lot of stuff coming up to surface, because this is what this relationship does to you, because you are the same energy. So basically mirrors to each other. Everybody's our mirror, and we learn from everybody. But this person is your mirror. It is you. So if you're afraid, the other person is also afraid, but it expresses it in his or her own way. But you're afraid of the same thing. So if you're afraid of surrendering to love, this person is also afraid of surrendering to love, and possibly doesn't believe in love, but expresses it in his way. So maybe you had an idea of a model, of gorgeous female model or an actress, and this person is something else. Or maybe you had an idea of a guy who is in a very good shape, sports type, certain color, eyes, and whatever, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't chase women or men. And then this other person is something else. I shouldn't be chasing anybody, but it's very different. It's very, it depends on the soul contract. And then this person, you might even get what you wanted, what you thought you wanted, and then it all turned out into hell. Because it's not about how somebody looks, it's about energy signature. If you're the same energy signature, you know when when it's you. You know when that other part of you is you. And I mean, I was also seeing this person in my dreams in mirrors. I would stand in front of my mirror and I would not see me. I would see this person, and I asked, what does this mean? And I was told, you should know yourself. So this is me knowing it and owning it. And this is where I got so far, better or worse. Whether you come together in a certain lifetime or not depends on what your soul contract is, and is very different for everybody. I mean, I don't even know for myself, so how can I know for you? You are the one who writes scenario for your life. But this is a very challenging relationship because you have to work a lot on yourself. You have to work a lot on yourself. Even when you have somebody who is from your soul group, or maybe not, but everything is okay. When you work a lot on yourself, psychologically or spiritually, and the other person isn't, at some point there is going to be a disbalance. So it's not going to work. Somebody's going to look for what they don't have in this relationship elsewhere. So this is why this relationship is actually created so that it pushes you. I'm talking about the primary soulmate twin flame relationship. It pushes you to work because it's you. So when you work on yourself, the other person also works on yourself. You don't even have to know each other because by the energy, you sort of push your shit to the other end. And this, I mean, I'm talking from the experience. So I'm just faced with something like, so what is this? So I have to dig deeper to see what's happening. And it usually comes out as either as psychological challenges or physical challenges, or you have some other challenges for somebody all of a sudden. So you have to work. It pushes your own shit outside. And so you have to work. The more light this person pulls in himself and clears herself or himself, the other end of his energy has to do the same. So basically you are created so that you can grow together. And from what I've heard from my clients who are in relationships with their primary soulmates, when I tell them to merge, they are like two snakes who are going upwards. This is genuine. And why I ask them this, because when they merge, they clear themselves and they clear the blocks that they're there to separate them from each other, but from love, basically from love. Because this relationship is created so that you can not only experience love, but experience divine. Because through the other person, divine, God loves you through this other person, and you love God when you love this other person. So when you hug this person, you're hugging God. I mean, God, we have ears. God gave us ears so that we can hear each other, and eyes so that we can see each other, and hands so that we can hug each other. And he's hugging himself through us, through each and every one of us, but especially through this person. You are in love with God to this person, through this person, and you love God, and God loves you back through this person. And this is why we all long for this kind of relationship, because we're all hungry for God. We are all longing for God. But if we still have blocks where we are separate from God, we will have blocks that we are separate from this relationship and this person. And the love is deeper, all the emotions are more intense, and everything is much deeper. So when you merge energetically, finally, which rarely happens, I have met just a few people who are actually together in physical form, because it's very difficult to be in a physical form when you merge energetically. And you have to be really mature. You have to be one within yourself first. You have whole, because you are you push everything outside to each other. Your mirror shows you what you should work on next, what's coming up next, what you don't like. And basically what we're used to doing is when we see the mirror and we see something we don't like in the mirror, in our reflection, especially men do this. I mean, women too, but more men than women, they tend to change the mirror. So if you change the mirror and you see some other mirror that's going to admire you for a bit of time, and you will like your own reflection in this mirror in their eyes, then you're fine. But when you see something you dislike, and this mirror will show you everything. Can you imagine being connected to somebody who knows everything about you? You didn't have to say anything, but it just knows because it's your energy. Whatever happens on the other end of the energy, they know because it's their energy. I mean, I know it's my energy. I've been shown. I mean, even when I don't want to see, the higher self, my higher self, or his higher self shows it to me in dreams, mostly in dreams. And I go through dimensions in dreams and I've seen things. I mean, I don't know if this person has seen those things. I'm sure that it happens the other way around. Maybe issues that I don't know about. And things that, but can you imagine being just, everything. We tend to hide things from each other. And especially when there's something we don't like about ourselves, we hide it from people that we want to impress. So when we see that our mirror is showing us a reflection we don't like, we tend to change the mirror instead of changing ourselves and changing the reflection in the mirror by doing this. And what we all should do is change the person in the mirror. And how we do it? By changing inside, by working on ourselves and bringing in change within ourselves. Because this person is us, and it is inside of us. Twin flames, primary soulmates, first meet on the inside, and this is where you find them. They come on the outside later, and they can come. Usually, there are rare souls who agree to have an encounter like this. It's like a soul split that they're talking about. And some souls, rare souls, decide to have an experience like this for the sake of learning, but not only for the sake of learning, but for the sake of being in service to love and being in service to this other soul, especially if both souls or one of those souls have a bigger task, very big task. So you're in service, holding the space for this other soul, this other person to do their thing, and you just love them. And you have possibly done this with your own energy, even when you did not know them. And you do this for your soul group all the time, but especially for this being. And this is what actually this client showed me, who told me that she doesn't meet her primary soulmate, even on that level, very often. This is how they express love, because they know they're already together. This is how they express and show that there is no separation between spiritual and material world and physical plane. We created because we need to function in a linear time and space, being bodies. And it's very difficult when you love somebody and you want to be with this person. And yeah, sometimes you have an agreement that you will be for a certain reason, because this is your task. And when those two people come together, they don't even have to be in a relationship. It feels, the vibration is different. It's something otherworldly. The connection is otherworldly, and you feel it, you know it. And everybody else feels something, because you are grounding the vibration of love and the vibration of God for everybody else, including yourselves. And especially if you are in relationships, well, that's another issue. And I do know, like Yanis, his second wife, there, and I listen to Heather Aguilera, who says, and by how she presents herself, by the way she feels, I believe she is in a relationship with her twin flame, and she talks a lot about twin flame issues. But I mean, when you merge, and it's an energetical merge, it's not necessarily physical. It's great, because it's something sacred. This relationship is something sacred, and I don't want to share too much about my own personal issue because it's sacred to me. And until you believe that this is something sacred, none of us will actually ever have it, because we don't see relationships as something sacred. We don't see love as something sacred, and especially we don't see sex as something sacred. But with this kind of relationship, this kind of being, that is something sacred, because it pushes your development. You are here to ascend together and ascend each other. So you ascend your own energy, and you can even have Kundalini rising and stuff like that everybody else is talking about. You can find all sorts of things all around. And once you merge, and it's an energetical merge, you will feel everything the other person feels. You will know everything. You can even get sick when this person is sick. It's not necessarily that you read mind, that you communicate telepathically, because you can communicate telepathically with other people too, and you can read energy of other people too, but this is different. It's really very different, and it's things that can happen, but I really don't want to speak about all this. Unless you're ready, you have to be really ready, and you have to be psychologically prepared for this, and you have to be psychologically mature and spiritually mature for something like this. So it's very unlikely that you're going to meet, and even if you meet somebody like this, you're not going to be in relationships in your younger age. You will be, if you have agreed to be in this kind of relationship, it will be when you are ready to change your ship and to your goal. So yeah, you have to be really ready for this. And speaking of it, I have had a teacher. I have had a teacher for a couple of years who's teaching about twin flame issues, and I have been connected to her for a couple of years. Her name is Brenda Tenerelli Smith, and we kind of drifted apart because I had some disagreements with her and some issues. But now I see that what she was saying is right, and obviously I needed a teacher, and I now know why. And even if you don't know personally, you don't know this person, if it's incarnate and you are energetically connected, you might have like phantom diseases and stuff, and you can read energy, and you have spontaneous development of some talents and abilities because this person is growing. And then, yeah, I needed a teacher, and I didn't know at that moment why. And I started searching, like I forgot, I started saying this, but I forgot. Stop. I started searching about my soulmate after a dream, my primary soulmate. I had this dream, like in 2006, where I was on a boat. I was inside of the boat, and I was hiding. And I connect boats to the relationships because I've heard about soulmates first from Sandra, and she does this guided sessions with a relationship boat. So this is what I assume I was on a boat, and I was looking at the outside from a window, and there were bikers, somebody riding bikes, and somebody was in front of them, but above them there was a snake that was flying, a feathered snake, and it was like somebody was telling me he's coming, and I don't know who is he because nobody came, and I didn't know why, but this dream got me into searching. And since then, I was searching for a long time for this primary soulmate of mine. And how do you know you're found? Because you stop searching. You don't have any need to search anymore, even if there are things that you don't like and they need to be transformed. Just stop searching. And even if this person is not incarnate, it doesn't mean you're not going to have love or you're not going to have a partner. You will, but it's just a different kind. When it's this, you just know, and this is why I'm sharing this dream with you. And I went to the most famous dream psychologist, Jungian psychologist in Serbia, in Belgrade. And he told me this is stupidity, that feathered snakes don't exist. Snakes don't fly. It means something else. And yeah, it didn't resonate with me. But I had a friend she was from Finland. She was also in spiritual work, and then she told me, oh, but do you know that there is Quetzalcoatl, who is a Mayan deity? And I didn't know that at that time. But that sort of satisfied me, and I wasn't searching for my dream explanation anymore, but I was searching for my soulmate. And then Yanis, before I went to see him, gave me meditation that I was to do at home. And it involved soulmate, meeting your soulmate in a rose garden. And this is, I use a part of this meditation when I do group sessions with soulmates, and I do group sessions for soulmates, and you can do this. I channeled it, created it, so I do it in group setting too. It's possible. Anyways, when I first did this, I forgot to mention this in Serbian video. When I first did this meditation, I had a dream about somebody who I was seeing till here, and he was wearing white, and I was wearing this white skirt with big red beautiful flowers, and we were going through this soul garden, and I knew this was my soulmate, my primary soulmate, and I knew this person, but I didn't really know him. I didn't know who that was, and usually, like I said, I was seeing him behind. And when I woke up tomorrow, I was sick. I had a fever. I couldn't get out of my bed, and when I got out of my bed, I fell down next to my bed, and I had like 40 degrees Celsius, my big fever that lasted for a couple of days, and this is the only time in my life that I ever had this kind of fever, and I guess it was some sort of a big clearing, and that was the first dream was in 2006, and this meditation was 2008, I think, 7 or 8, or maybe even before. I can't remember which one came first, but that got me into searching. And then there were other encounters. This is why I was showing you that I have this. These are very important for me. I've had them for 10 years because they're like sort of symbol of my primary soulmate for me. And I don't even know, I mean, when you know that there is somebody on that level and you are meeting this being somewhere, how can you even let anybody else in your life? And this is not an energetic connection that you can cut, and you should cut. It's you. And I know this being from not only dreams, but I've had this. I was seeing when I say I see only half of this person, I see feet and I see shoes, and they were usually brown. It's not suede, but something like very soft shoes. I mean, I saw them. Doesn't matter. Anyways, I had these dreams, several dreams, like when I was sitting on a bus that was being bombed, and then I saw this being, and then when I was sleeping in one of my flats, I changed a lot of flats. The heater, electrical heater, got broken while I was sleeping, and it got fire, and it was smoking, basically. So I was inhaling those smoke, and I didn't even sense anything happening. I could have died from this smoke, but then I felt somebody just kicked me on my shoulder, and I woke up, and I was drowsy, and I couldn't breathe properly. The only thing that I sensed I should do, I just disconnected, unplugged this heater, and I didn't see that. I didn't see it. It was not a dream. This was in my room. He was in my room, but I only saw again feet and shoes, and a couple of other instances. So Yeah, I've learned a lot through this relationship, and this shows me, and my clients also show me, that this primary soulmate can serve as your guide. It's not your primary spirit guide, not your primary guide, but can serve as your guide, and it usually is. And also, I saw it in when I had initiation, shamanic initiation, and when I saw it in Shaman's Eyes. I was shown two channels, well, actually one channel, and one channel was breaking up in two. One was me, and one was the other person. And my part had some fragments, a few, but this other beings had a lot, and then they had a lot. So it kind of made it harder to merge, and it pushes a lot to be transformed. And when finally this happened, I mean, it lasted really, it was really short, but this kind of, these channels all became a Hamsa hand, like a paw, if you want a paw, but it like hand of Fatima, hand of Rachel, Hamsa, whatever you want to call it. That became it. And I just knew what I was shown. So this is how I see it. Mike Newton describes it differently when he speaks about soul groups. So he is like telling who's sitting where, and he's also saying this for a council of elders. That's not how I saw it. I saw it like this. And those are smaller channels, are your soul fragments, your soul children, if you want to call it like that. And they are of same group, but they're not. They are lower in frequency than you, so you can either teach them or guide them, or maybe you don't, but you don't necessarily have to meet them in a physical. And if this is your task to teach them, then you do. And they can even be younger souls. This doesn't mean that they're disconnected from their soul. You can never be disconnected from your soul, but you're in different quality. You're in different vibration, so vibration is higher than there, and they need to grow to there. So this is how you help your soul group ascend, actually. And this is why you're basically here, and this is why usually twin flames, when they come in incarnation and when they come together in incarnation, this is what they do, because they help each other ascend, and they help their soul group ascend, and they do it with their vibration. So this is what service to love means. You're in service to love through this being. You are in ultimate service. When you decide to incarnate with your twin flame and be in a relationship with your twin flame, you're in a service to each other and to God. And this is why it is so sacred. Yeah. And this is my own personal journey, and this is my own personal learning point, and very difficult learning point for me, and painful. Because I assume there are lives that I still haven't seen, because they're very difficult for me to accept. So one other thing that I wanted to share is when they speak about, a lot about twin flames and how they have karmic partners and this and that. Your twin flame karma is your karma too. I mean, I've had recently a couple. They're not, from what I've seen, primary soulmates, but they're very functional, in a very functional and harmonious relationship, and they're great together. And she wanted to clear some issue for him through her, and I said no, because this is his lesson and his karma. So yeah, your partner's karma is your karma, but his lesson are his lessons, and your lessons are your lessons, and nobody can learn them for you, or you cannot learn your lessons for yourself. You cannot learn your lessons for your children either, and you can't learn your twin flame, and you have the same lesson, but you learn it separately first, and then you can learn it together if you choose so. But as this is your energy, your twin flames karma is your karma. So you're basically clearing, when you clear yourself, you're clearing the energy for your twin flame. And if he has a karma, or if she has a partner or whatever, or there is an issue with somebody else from his past or her past, or a family issue, whoever, and it's somebody's karma in this relationship, it's your karma too. Maybe it expresses itself in a different way, but it's your karma too. So you clear it for each other and together. And basically, your twin flame is a reflection of your inner male and inner female on the outside. So you have to bring the harmony and love and everything you want inside of yourself first, so that it can project outside, if this is what you agreed on. So one other thing, how I worked, you can have helpers other than teachers and other stuff that I just shared. There is a stone, there are ammonites that come in couples, in pairs, and I had one pair that broke like a year ago, and then I got another one, and I only have one with me now. They helped me immensely, but the other pair, the other one went to where it wanted to go. I mean, he told me where it wanted to go. And then I have these cards that I use in my group sessions. Lover's Oracle. Let's see what the card tells us now. Love is an angel disguised as lust. I don't want to do that. You can interpret it for yourself. Whatever. Yeah, this doesn't mean, maybe this is what I needed to mention. This doesn't mean that this kind of relationship is not physical. It is physical, and it should be physical, because it's not a relationship if it's not. But it's something sacred. For me, love is something sacred, and sex is also something sacred. So when we're talking about that. And the other thing where I learned about soulmates is this book, A Bridge Across Forever by Richard Bach. And this, when I first saw it, this book attracted itself to me like almost 20 years ago. It had a infinity symbol, and this is my symbol, and nobody recommended it to me. I just got stuck on it, and I had to read it, and it ruined my life. And another book from him is Richard Bach, One. And when I first read it, like 15 years ago, I thought it's stupidity. Something like that doesn't exist. Whoever does that. That there are no relationships like this. I mean, I don't know if there are relationships like this, but it's not stupidity. And look at what I'm doing now. What's my life like calling? Let's look at what I do. What's my job now? It influenced me a lot. And another one that I really like is Soulmates by Thomas More. And it's a psychological book. He was actually a theologian, a priest. And I like the way he talks about the soul and about soulmates. And he's making it more earthly, more human and psychological. And he talks about really relationships and how to maintain soul of a relationship. And when there is love, there is another soul, which is the soul of the relationship. Basically, in twin flame relationship, in primary soulmate relationship, you don't have to create it because it already exists. And the connections can be darkened only. And yet they have to be cleared for certain reason. But I believe that this goes to any other relationship. And the primary thing with those kind of relationships is that they are an example, and they should be an example to others, how to grow together and how to create together and how to bring down the divine in form. And I don't know how I said everything now. There are other things that can be said about this, but I'm not ready, and I want to, and when I'm ready, I will. I have many more examples, but it can last forever. This topic isn't an ongoing resource of lectures and talks, but what you should know that it can be done in group setting too, and I've done it a couple of times. And one particular anecdote from there is that one of my clients told me, we didn't work on that, but we were talking with their spirit guides, and she asked her spirit guide when will she be married, because she wanted to be married, and she's a beautiful woman without a partner. She didn't have a partner at that time. It was like 2 years ago. And her guide told her, what do you mean? I mean, that already happened. And she was so confused. She asked me, what does this mean? Because she didn't even have a partner, not to mention a marriage. And this is what actually is on the other level when you speak about with spiritual energies, with spirit forms. This is how they will communicate with you. This is what they will tell you, because for them everything has already happened and it already exists. Everything already exists. You just need to lift yourself up to the point where it already does, or believe that it does. So if we had worked in individual session, I would ask, is this person incarnate, and how can we connect, and what should we do so she can connect and remove blockages from herself, work on herself so that this can happen in physical. How can she jump to that point? And it was a group setting, so you cannot do this in a group setting, but you can do it in an individual session. And one other session that was interesting too is, well, it was the very first client that actually she faced me with this topic, because at the beginning, because of my own ongoing search, I started believing that this relationship doesn't exist. And then she came. There was a woman that was divorced from her husband, and for a couple of years, and she didn't like it. He had somebody else and had a family with this person. And she was in a 17 years long relationship with him, and they divorced when they were a bit older. And she didn't like that. She really resented it and couldn't accept it. And when we went into the session and she saw that he was herself, she saw that the eyes are the same. And he said that he sent this to her. Actually, her soul told her that she sent this split up to her because she needed to work a lot on herself, and she was not learning and she was not developing anymore. And this needed to happen because he was her primary soulmate, but they needed to split up, and they won't be together again. And she was given a tool how to work on herself. She was told to go year by year, every year, to clear her house, to take a broomstick and clear her own house, and it meant in her inner house, and go 5 years, and every year to take blocks of 5 years and clear them. And so she would write everything that hurted her and everything that offended her and everything that had happened and every trauma, not only with their relationship, but in her life, and work on those, and this is how she would clear. And she saw that as a lot of work. She cried a lot and she couldn't accept it and she didn't want it, but it was her soul agreement. So basically, if something like this happened, if you're alone, or if you're in a karmic relationship that you don't like, or something else, or you will not meet your twin flame, or he's not incarnate, this is because you have an agreement with your own soul. This is what you agreed with your own soul, because of your process of learning, of your own development, and you need it for a certain reason. And what is the reason, we don't know, and we explore the reasons in the session. Some are changeable, some are not, but this is basically what is it all about. So if it heals your soul to think that a tree is your soulmate, then I leave it like that. So be it. It heals your soul. And if it doesn't, then we'll look for the ways how to clear the blockage for you that you created for yourself, so that you can receive love, and so that you can have love, and so that you can be love. And because this is what we're here for, to be love in form. And soulmates, primary soulmates, twin flames, like they say, they don't have to look exactly alike. They don't have to be completely the same. You're not the same. You're same energy, and it goes. You're the same on as an energy signature, as energy, just different polarities, but you're not the same. You express yourself differently. You don't. All of the bigger things, you are complementary. So that's similar, if not the same. So you complement each other. You're complementary, but you're not the same. You might be working in similar field in different ways, same thing, but in different ways, but most likely you're working in the other planes already. And when I saw this channel, I saw that they are working on the same thing, but they are two different schools. And they are different schools because they are blending knowledge. They bring knowledge to this one soul when they come home. And when they come together in physical plane or some other plane, doesn't matter. But it's that much stronger when it's incorporated in physical. But usually, like I said, you don't have to look alike, but the eyes are the same, and the eye color is usually the same. Yeah, this is what I've seen, what I've discovered through my search and through my clients. Yeah. So take whatever resonates with you, leave the rest. And yeah, this is really a difficult issue for me, so I hope it helped you. And I hope at least one person gained something from it, because it's a challenging thing for me. So thank you very much, and stay in love, be love, and until next time, we will talk about, now I believe, about more easier issues. Of course, it's individual, but for me it's going to be easier, because I'm hoping I'm not going to be having any more challenges. And thank you very much for having patience with me and listening to me and having an interest in what I have to say. It means the world to me. Thank you very much.